Alright everybody, tonight on the uxwbill and his family's cooking show, we're making pumpkin pie like you have never seen or tasted before. My mother made this for the first time. This is a pumpkin pie cheesecake. And it's pretty slick. You make it in your food processor.
It has a crust made from graham crackers, and we're going to show you how to do it right now because the whole thing from start to finish doesn't take 10 minutes. And uxwbill is actually going to put on an apron and a chef's hat.
Uh-oh.
And he is actually going to show you just how simple you can make a delicious cheesecake.
Yeah, because if uxwbill can do it, anybody can do it.
Eat your chocolate raisins and be quiet.
Okay, sit down, uxwbill.
Alrighty.
The first thing you need to do is you need to go wash your hands.
I just did.
All right. Without being brand specific, we have actually taste tested 2 different brands of ginger snaps, and I believe that this brand is actually the tastier, crispier ginger snap cookie. So I've made the selection to use this brand. 2,
There are
3, 4,
supposed to
5,
be 38.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 34, 35, 36, and the 2 that are in your hand.
Here we have 37 and 38.
Okay, 38 ginger snaps, and 1/4 cup of finely chopped pecans.
Ooh, where do we have those at?
Right here. But the first time I made it, I thought it could stand a little more. So we're going to modify our recipe, and instead of using 1/4 cup of pecans, we're going to use a generous 1/3 cup.
Ooh, look at that. Got some escapees here.
Alrighty, so
Put those in there as well.
they go right in the little hole. Okay, now what you want to do next is buzz that up.
Don't we have a thing that goes in here to keep stuff from shooting out all over the ceiling?
What we do, or you can just put your hand over the top.
It's action food again.
So,
Alright, now you could either strain this through a coffee filter and drink it, or I suppose you could roll it and smoke it.
alright.
But here's our crust.
You need to use that easy button.
I should go get that.
Next thing that we're going to need to do is to melt
15 sticks of butter.
1/4 cup of butter.
Alright, well we should be able to do that.
1/4 cup of butter is 1/2 stick, and so I will go melt 1/2 stick of butter.
Butter.
And we are using real butter because in baking it tastes
Nothing tastes better.
much better.
That's right.
So,
Taste test.
And all in the world you need to melt your butter is a television that cooks food like this one. For those who are wondering, this particular recipe shows up. Good chefs never tell their secrets, but we're not very good. So this shows up in Food Magazine by Martha Stewart. I'm not Martha's biggest fan, but this is a pretty cool magazine. There's some neat stuff in here. So if you want to make your own version of this, that's where you get the recipe. This is actually a Kraft Foods advertisement recipe.
okay. I am pouring 1/4 cup of melted butter over the graham crackers.
That's a nice bowl you made.
Yes, it is.
Yep, homemade
And-
bowl.
Is you take your fork and you need to mix the butter with the crumb mixture. And that reduces the volume of the crumb mixture, moistens it, and makes it packable. So you just take a few minutes to stir that around. It mixes up pretty easy.
The key keeper has another approach to getting food. It involves a large knife used against an innocent package of Nutter Butter peanut butter puffs.
when everything is thoroughly moistened with the melted butter, because it's a little darker in color now.
Alright, my mother tells me I'm supposed to use my skills, I don't know what skills those would be, to do this next part, because the keykeeper will readily tell you that I haven't got any skills in, well, anything. He is, of course, wrong.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to pat it
We play pity pat with the dough.
up against the sides, but you don't want it to go over the sides, so you kind of keep your hand down the top.
Maybe I'll have some like that.
And
what are you doing?
so, uxwbill, go ahead and start to pat it down. Okay?
Alright, I'll see what I can do here. I don't want it going over.
Yeah, we don't want it going over. We do need it padded.
It's worth the effort, trust me.
It's really good.
Alright, that's
The
pretty
crust
well
is
got the
prepared.
crust prepared.
Alrighty,
Hey, what is this?
So now for the fun part, the healthy part.
we're going to set the crust aside.
It's a craft advertisement that this recipe comes from, but you know what? Save yourself some money and buy the generic cream cheese if it's on sale.
That was on sale.
I figured that was the only reason we had it.
It's ready to go again. Okay, the whole thing is made in the food processor.
I can't believe he's not whipped out his knife already.
And we're going to put in 1 cup of sugar.
He's pretty enthused with that packaging. What's that?
One stick at 24/8 the deodorant.
Oh!
Okay, 1
And
cup of
actual
sugar
cream cheese.
and
How many of these?
3 cream cheese blocks.
I'll tell you what, half of a Weight Watchers meeting just fainted.
Look dirty.
Yeah, the keykeeper was playing with it after working on small engines all day.
Okay, 15 ounces of
Butter.
pumpkin.
Don't eat this out of the can. You know, there's some ingredients that are good to sneak little tastes of. This stuff tastes seriously barfy until it's in a finished recipe.
That sounds like a lot of things
15 ounces is either half of a big can, which is what this is,
For your firstborn child.
or
There's the other half of the Weight Watchers meeting right there. What about that half? I told you math wasn't my strong suit.
Yeah, well.
Putting in a little cinnamon and a little ginger, and I don't know, maybe that's Alcoholics Anonymous or something.
and some vanilla.
You'll only do that once.
I think I'll spill me a lot of cinnamon.
1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We'll make that heaping. We like cinnamon. And
Brown, you ought to do the ginger.
no. And about a half of a teaspoon, which is about, looks like all we have left. I have to put that on my shopping list.
Of ginger.
Ginger.
Don't do this at home, because a big old clump of ginger will fall out and ruin your recipe.
Okay, so we can recycle this little plastic container. Alrighty.
Time to blend all that stuff, which doesn't make it look any more appetizing.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Illinois law egg.
Four eggs.
I don't want to go to chicken coop.
So in the time that I've been gone, I think some eggs have arrived in the mix.
Eggs.
And it's definitely starting to look more like something that you put into a pie.
Mix it all up in the food processor.
That makes a cool noise. What's that? That's cool.
And now the keykeeper learns just a little bit more about speaker enclosure design. Make a stereo nut out of him yet.
Okay, looks like everything is mixed very nicely in the food processor. So we'll simply take our spatula and stir it up around the edges. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do here
That was the last we saw of her right arm.
is I'm going to start to ladle it out and spoon it in. And I have modified this recipe some from the craft recipe in the magazine. So I guess you could say that now it's our own original recipe.
Now while that's going on, we probably ought to be preheating the oven, so we'll
Take the stuff out of the oven.
we'll grease the oven, turn the cake tin to 350 degrees. Sample the whiskey for oh wait, that's another recipe. Hey, look at this. We cleaned the stove. I don't believe it.
You sure how you clean it?
What are we setting it to?
325.
325. So there it goes. You gotta love this stove. There's a reason why I love these stoves. At least I do anyway. Well, that's part of it, but the other part is a wide stove like this with two ovens. Not only can you multitask and cook two things in the oven at once, provided they'll fit, which means for that one over there you have to cut frozen pizzas in half, but you've got a work area right here. And that thing is invaluable. It'll spoil you in no time at all. So let's see what's going on over here.
You still gonna have a lot of ashes left over?
No, I think this batch is a little more
We
exact than the
modified
last
this
one.
recipe because the first time we made it we had an excess amount of
So what did you
batter.
cut down on?
And so I simply reduced the amount of cream cheese.
Okay.
Now,
What'd you put in it the first time?
4 things of cream cheese.
And then put in 3?
She
Yeah.
said so matter-of-factly.
Now, because this food processor blade is razor sharp, don't wipe it clean with your fingers.
And don't lick it either.
Oh, no.
That got exactly the anticipated response.
Okay, so this should have a little more pumpkin flavor. We've reduced the amount of cream cheese, increased the spices a little bit, and it should have much more pumpkin flavor. And as you can see, a wonderful cheesecake goes together in about 10 minutes of time.
Closer to 15, actually.
A food processor. So,
Now we just have to put that thing in the oven.
and it looks like we came out perfectly even. It bakes at 325 for about an hour and a half until the center is set. And when it's done,
That's what it looks like.
it looks like that. Oh, you uxwbill. You're going to make something else.
Uh-oh.
Watch our progress.
Okay.
A washed pot never boils.
uxwbill is going to make another Thanksgiving treat as soon as I get the food processor washed up, because he will be using it again.
Uh-oh. While you're waiting for your pie to come out, you can listen to the radio. And there is the finished product. Yum, yum.